Okay, the long awaited sequel to the not so great Strangers Part 1, Strangers Part 2. Does it solidify itself as one of the great sequels, or does it fall flat on its face like many others in the horror genre? K-Dogs Movie Review. Okay, chapter 2 of the new Strangers trilogy series that nobody asked for. Quick thoughts on chapter 1. It was absolutely terrible. I hated that movie because basically it was the same exact movie as the original. And this is a major problem with the thought of creating a trilogy for this series anyway. The original was effective in being a home invasion movie. The ending of that movie is great. Why are you doing this? Because you were home. That's it. Just spooky, simple home invasion movie. But now, because of money, we have to try and turn this into a trilogy to learn the backstory of their strangers and who they are and why they do what they do, which completely negates the whole purpose of the original. This movie even existing is already annoying. But anyway, I went in with incredibly low expectations, and I left the movie thinking that this was okay. I'll say this. It's terrible. It's an awful movie. I don't think it's worth your money. But there are moments of horror schlock in this, which I do love. Characters making awful decisions, innocent people dying, and all of the tropes in between. Having said that, it's way too long. Even at an hour and like 36 minutes, it's still way too long. I felt the runtime, and it's just padded with nonsense. So let's get into it. Honestly, I think I might just jump into spoilers with this one. I don't care. It's The Strangers Chapter 2. Does it really matter? We already know there's going to be a Chapter 3, so from the very beginning, there is little to no tension because we know that there's going to be a third and that the main character is going to survive till the end. So all of the scenes where she's, just barely trying to get away, we know she's going to survive. So anyway, fuck it, spoilers, I don't care. This movie starts from the very ending of the last one. Basically, the main girl wakes up in the hospital after the events of the last movie, and we immediately start ripping off of Halloween 2, Spooky Hospital. And as with all horror movies, nobody works at night in hospitals, I guess, even a skeleton crew. I think there's maybe one or two employees you see, but no other patients in this big hospital. No, it's just filled with empty hallways with this main girl screaming and running down it and this other guy with an axe trying to chase her. And that's really what this entire movie is. It's just chase scene after chase scene. It is filled with some fun schlock, which I will get into, but it's just filled with things taken from other movies. I mean, even the fucking Revenant, which I'll get into later, but it's just stolen scenes from other movies and terrible horror tropes that we've seen a million times before. One praise I will give this movie is our lead actress. She's on camera for like 95% of this movie, and I think she does a good job. I think she could be up there with other Scream Queens. Now, does she make the right decisions? No, she makes a lot of stupid ones. She's also supernatural because this girl survives a lot of things and goes through a whole fucking lot in this movie, which I'll get into. Anyway, we're in this spooky hospital where there's absolutely nobody working for some reason. And earlier, she's getting interviewed by the police. And what's hilarious about this movie, a continuation from the previous, is that all of the townspeople are just off and awkward. It's kind of set up as a like, who are the strangers? Could it be the cop? Could it be the local diner guy? Could it be the mechanic? Like, could it be one of the waitresses? So they have all of these characters trying to act kind of like surface level spooky in a way, but it just comes off as really awkward and weird. Specifically, there's a scene later on where our main character gets picked up by a group of friends that are just driving through this rainstorm. And, they agree to help her out and stuff. But the acting is just atrocious. I mean, you could tell that the filmmaker said, okay, try and act like friendly, but a little mysterious at the same time. And it just comes off so bad. I wish I had clips to show because the lines are like, hey, we can help you out. Hey, you're bleeding. I'm in a stranger's movie. So anyway, she gets interviewed by the police who are acting weird and creepy. Basically, she gets nowhere with that. Oh, she has her phone. And of course, with every modern day horror movie, you have to have a way to get rid of the phone because the phone would solve many of her problems. And of course, they do the classic no service, big in capital letters on her phone so the audience can read it. Although there's like no phone in existence, which shows that type of notification. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. When she does get service, however, she's talking to her sister, I think, who lives overseas or in a different state, country, something. And she's on her way. She's on her way there, basically. And that becomes important later on because our character makes some really dumb decisions. Oh, and what's really stupid about this, actually, with the phone and the cell service, is that she's able to initially receive a video because, God forbid, she talked to her sister on the phone. You know, her sister's fiance just got brutally murdered. God forbid you give her an actual call instead of just sending a text message. She's able to receive that text in the beginning of the movie, which is in the hospital, but then she later doesn't have service in the hospital. It's really weird. Like, why? Why did you suddenly lose service? It's just so in that moment she can't call the police or anyone for help because, God forbid, again, nobody working in this hospital. So anyway, she's running down the halls. The strangers are after her. You know, the big three. The guy with the big axe and the two girls with the knives that ask like if Tamara is there or whatever. And it's just your classic horror trope stuff. She hides behind a door or under a bed or something. The guy creepily walks by, seeming like he can't see her. And then he lunges and he tries to attack her and she gets away. She runs away and then he chases after her. And then she gets into another room where she hides behind a curtain and he's slowly walking, looking for her, looking all spooky. And then he spots her and then she runs again into another room. And it's that repeated throughout the entire runtime. And again, like I said, the pacing of this movie at first I thought was pretty good. We rush right into it. We rush pretty much right into the horror. It's great. Waste no time, right? This is a trashy movie. Let's just get right into it. But there are a lot of scenes where we try and figure out who the strangers are and their backstory, which is just fucking stupid. We get these lame sequences from the past when the strangers are just children and we're learning who Tamara is. Like, okay, it's so cringy and full of itself. Like, who cares who Tamara is? It's just a stupid little gimmick that they use to get into the household and see what it looks like and see who's there. But anyway, because that's literally one of the only like two things we can latch on to with figuring out the backstory to these characters. Literally, they have Tamara, they have the fact that there's three of them, and they wear masks. That's really the only like things you could work off of in this universe. Oh, and the supernatural elements as well. Because in the original, they didn't really seem supernatural at all. It was just a pretty grounded horror invasion movie. But in this movie, characters can literally get stabbed in the face and then next scene they're fine. So we have to figure out what the fuck is happening to these people to make them basically superhuman. So I don't know if I'm going to go through the entire movie scene by scene, but I'm just going to talk about things I thought were stupid or funny. So our lead actress, she's trying to give it her all. And again, she's really good in this role, but she's constantly crying and groaning and limping and just bleeding and just in pain constantly. Their character somehow escapes from the hospital. And I think the next scene that happens is she gets picked up by that group of weirdos. The people who are acting like they really want to help her and are really fucking creepy at the same time. It's first just two women who pick her up in a car. Then they're driving and they happen upon two people who are just standing in the middle of the road in the pouring rain, like for no reason. And they're like, why are you out here? And they talk about like how they had to walk back from a bar or something. But the two guys that they pick up, the two roommates, are the most incredibly creepy people in the world. Like, they are throwing the red herring in your face. They're like, it could be these people. Could it be these people? It could be. Like, even if they're not murderers, I would never want to be around these people ever. Because the one guy is giving very sexual predator vibes. Like, every shot with him is like really zoomed in on his face. And he's just kind of giving these like, hey, Hey, you're bleeding. You're a fucking bitch. Oh, and then the other roommate is just sitting there like, who are these people? You know, the two seemingly okay, terrible actors in the front seats are like, oh, that's fine. They're just our roommates. They're just a little awkward. They're harmless, though. It's so bad. So, of course, like any sane human, our main character sitting in the back seat with these two terrible people and the two terrible actresses in the front, she starts having a panic attack. She's basically like her anxiety like builds up to the point where she grabs a medical bag that they have in the car and escapes and jumps out of a moving car. And the people in the car are like, "Oh my God, you jumped out of the car. Let us help you and search for you. We're definitely not trying to kill you." So they search for her, they can't find her. And then, you know, once again, this movie, because it has no ideas of its own, it takes the action horror trope of girl who's got to sew her up her own wounds. And I will say it got to me a little bit because of her acting. The main actress's acting, it's really good, but it's just so drawn out and tropey that, you know, after a while I was like, okay, come on, just get through it so you can stand up and then fight a boar. Which ends up happening. So, because this movie then decides to steal from the Revenant. The strangers are looking for her in the forest. They can't find her. Our main character decides to just sleep in the middle of the open because why not? And so the strangers, they unleash a wild animal at her. You see it from the POV of the animal. You don't know what it is. You're thinking it's a dog or some kind of supernatural creature, which at this point, my interest was piqued. I was like, hey, you know what? This is something a little bit different. I'm into it. It's stupid. It's schlocky, but I don't care. I'm into it. The thing is chasing after her. She gets chased into a car and the thing's banging against the car. And you're like, oh man, are you going to see the creature? And I was a little bit disappointed at first because I was like, wait, are we just going to not show the creature because of budgetary reasons? Like, you know, this movie probably has a low budget, so it's just going to show the creature's POV and, you know, just show the car shaking and then it's going to run away. No, she gets out of the car and out revealed, it's a fucking boar, like a gigantic pig. So she's getting so our main actress, God bless her, she gets fucking pelted by this wild boar and bitten and writhed around, and she suddenly becomes Leonardo DiCaprio with this giant boar on top of her. Robert Baratheon couldn't survive a boar attack, but the main girl from The Strangers Chapter 2 can. So she channels her inner Leonardo DiCaprio and she grabs her knife and then stabs the thing in the throat and kills it. And I was kind of going back and forth between hating it and loving it because it's just so stupid, but it's weird and different, but also not different because it's stealing directly from the Revenant. Even the way the attack happens on the ground once we see the boar. You know, the boar is on top of her. It's really getting to her. It's biting her. And her main character is just kind of laying there after a while like, ugh, like I'm going to die. But then the boar just gets off of her and like walks away and starts sniffing around. Very similar to the Revenant bear scene where the bear initially attacks DiCaprio and then just walks off. Similar to DiCaprio, she then grabs her knife and the wild boar comes after her again, just like the bear, and she stabs it in the throat and kills it. The only thing I was wishing actually that it stole more from the Revenant, I wish he had like skinned the boar and like, I don't know, like eaten its meat or wore its tusks like on her neck or something. I think that would have been really cool. Anyway, she kills the wild boar and runs away. Oh, and we mustn't forget, I mentioned this earlier, we have a lot of, you know, scenes where we go back in time looking at our strangers when they were just kids, you know, figuring out who they are. Are these kids the strangers? And yes, they obviously are, but they played with boars when they were kids. So there you go. That explains the boar. Okay. The little kid says at one point, like, I'm going to teach these pigs to do lots of stuff for me. There's your explanation because you really needed one. Like, who the fuck cares? Like, I think it's just kind of cool and weird that this guy just has a wild boar in a cave. What else? Oh, also this movie, it's weird at the beginning because, you know, this town only has one diner and all of the people in the town go there and soak up all the town gossip. Our two police officers are talking about the brutal murder and the attack from the previous movie. One of the waitresses is sitting in the back and it's showing her face, and then it cuts back to when she was a child and, you know, her origin and stuff like that. And it's the same child that we're seeing throughout the movie as being one of the strangers. So we already know that she's one of the strangers. It's kind of like revealed from the very beginning of the movie, which I thought was weird. It felt bizarre, which I'll get into later, but just remember that they already revealed that one of the girls in the masks is the waitress from the diner. Okay, so her main character, she kills the boar. She's running. And I don't know if I'm saying all of these scenes in order, but I just think they were funny. She happens upon this farm. She runs into the supposed owner of the farm. The owner of the farm holds up a gun to her because our main character looked like she was trying to break in. And she's like, no, you have to call the police. Please don't shoot me. And in classic schlock horror fashion, the one character who is good in this movie, who knows the police are up to no good, she's like, you can't call the police because they're in on it. And then midway through her speech, she gets blasted in the eye with a big ass arrow from a crossbow. So she dies. She's on the ground. And that happens again later, actually. Oh, wait, before I get to that, our main character decides to pick up the gun, good idea, and shoot at the stranger. Also good idea. She fires several times, only one bullet goes off. It goes bam, click, 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 click. And you're just left wondering, like, did the farm owner only have one bullet in the gun? And even if that's the case, still take the gun. Don't leave the gun behind. Like, what if the strangers pick that up? Maybe you could find bullets somewhere else. Like, take the gun with you. She just drops the gun and keeps running. And a scene similar to this happens later, actually. She happens upon the house from the first movie. You know, she's reliving the events. She's gathering some supplies, eating food. And then this guy shows up from police internal affairs. And once again, he's just a guy who's there to help her and immediately gets an arrow to the head. He's another terrible actor. I'm with Internal Affairs. I can help you. He's driving. He's like, so where are you from? And then he gets an arrow in the face. It's so funny. Anytime somebody wants to help this poor girl, they die. They get killed. But, oh, also, what's kind of annoying about this movie and makes it pretty terrible is that our strangers kind of go back and forth between toying with her and actually trying to get her. Like, there are scenes where they are sprinting at her and they show frustration when they can't get to her. Like, they'll bang on a door as she escapes or something. But then other times, like, they're just kind of like creepily standing behind her. Like, make up your mind. Are you trying to be creepy or are you trying to actually get her? Obviously, it's just played up for the movie so the audience can have a good time. But it's stupid. It's stupid writing. Okay, so anyway, our character has escaped the woods or the farm or her house or whatever, and finally happens upon this house where she's saying, please help me. At this point, her leg is fucked up. Her stomach is fucked up. Her head is bashed in. She's bleeding. Like, she's not in a good place, but somehow she's surviving because she's superhuman. Who answers the door? Of course, it's the creepy licking guy. And it turns out they're still fucking creepy. They let her in. They patch up her wounds. They give her a bed to lay in and everything. But as soon as she wakes up and she starts talking to people, they're all just still fucking creepy. The gross alcoholic guy who has the tattoo of the smiley face on his neck, similar to one of the strangers. Could it be him? I don't know. He's just creepily talking to her about what it felt like to almost die while he like holds a knife in his hand. It's so weird and creepy that it's funny because you could tell they're obviously trying to say like, is this guy a stranger? But he's just the biggest creep in the world that it just becomes funny. And of course, again, the roommates are like, that's just George. He's weird. That's his quirk. Why are they roommates? Why would they ever like be in the same house together? They're just completely different characters. But anyway, so the creepy alcoholic guy with the tattoo, he ends up getting drunk and driving away. And as soon as he drives away, the strangers show up. The strangers kill the 3 other roommates, and they're going after our lead actress. Oh, and I should say this. Our main character has her phone again. One of the roommates says, "Hey, I picked up your phone from the hospital's lost and found." Wait a minute. People were murdered in that hospital. At least one. One of the stranger guys murdered one of the coroners, and she escaped, and they just let some random person pick up her phone? Huh? Like, wouldn't there be an investigation? Like, wouldn't she be wanted? Like, wouldn't the police be interested in that? But who knows? Maybe the police are in on it. She has her phone back, and once again, we run into this trope where at one point she gets a text message from her sister saying, "I'm sending an EMT directly to you to pick you up. Stay there." Because, God forbid you call your sister in this moment. But then 2 seconds later, she doesn't have service again. EMT guy shows up, another nice soul to save the day. And of course, he dies immediately. She goes out of the house and she finds that he's dead. And in a stupid decision, she walks outside, right? She sees that the EMT is on the ground dead. And yet she still runs into the ambulance, runs in the back seat, sees someone in the front driver's seat and says, "Go, go, drive." And of course, the driver turns around and it's one of the masked strangers. Bro, like, what? You just saw the EMT dead on the ground. Who do you think is in the driver's seat? So they go, she stabs the stranger girl in the face. The stranger girl doesn't care because she's supernatural. And then the car gets flipped over and blah, 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 blah. This ultimately leads to her stabbing the stranger's girl again and killing one of them. One of the 3 strangers has been murdered. And our other strangers roll up and they find the dead girl. And the stranger's guy walks up to the dead girl and holds her in her arms. And it's a somber moment because, oh no, one of the strangers is dead. And we cut back to that flashback to where they were just kids, the boy and the girl. And you see what looks like their first murder. They walk up to a bully and they say, "Is Tamara here?" And she hits her in the head with a rock. And it's so full of itself. It's so yeah, we were murderers when we were kids. We were psycho. We're weird. We played with blood. We drew smiley faces in blood. We're so obscure and weird. We wear masks. We're the strangers. Oh, and then the strangers guy picks up the mask of the dead one, and it's revealed to be a waitress from the diner, which is fucking stupid because we already know that. The movie treats it as this major reveal, and they cut back to the flashback of her as a kid and then as her as the waitress, and it's like, bro, we already knew this from the very beginning. They set it up in the beginning that the waitress was the girl from the flashback, and obviously the girl from the flashback is one of the strangers. There's no reveal there in the end. They really focus on it for a long time, a few minutes. We're sitting there oh my God, we finally know what one of the strangers looks like. And nobody cares. Now, apparently this waitress was in the previous movie and drove the couple to the house. I didn't even remember that. And I went on a rant about that movie for 45 minutes in a previous video I did. That's how little of an impact that she had as a character. I don't even remember her from the first movie. And ultimately, that's where our movie ends. Our final girl is still on the run. She has killed one of the 3 strangers, and the strangers are still on the hunt for her. Because this movie is so full of itself, and with every modern full of itself franchise, we have to have a post-credit scene. And what does that post-credit scene show? It's basically a trailer for the next one. And it shows her being one of the strangers, maybe a setup to the cycle of violence continuing, or maybe she poses as one of them to learn more about them or something. It's really stupid. Guys, ultimately, this movie is fucking dumb, but it's filled with hilarious moments, like with the boar or with the innocent people immediately getting murdered. It's so weird. It's like a weird combination of being schlocky and like overly serious at the same time. Obviously, I'm not going to recommend it. This movie shouldn't exist. It's fucking stupid. It's a lame cash grab. Now, what I'm hoping for chapter 3, because I'm very invested in this already, like I'm here till the end. I'm going to watch the third one. I hope that they just introduce supernatural elements. I hope they go full batshit crazy, like worshiping Satan shit, so that they revive the dead one and, you know, she comes back as a zombie and starts eating the whole town. Like, I hope it goes batshit crazy. Please let me know what you guys thought of The Strangers Chapter 2 in the comments below. Did you like it more than the first one? Did you even see it? Maybe you just watched this video. Are you excited for Chapter 3? Are you a fan of the original? Till next time.